So we're back. You might see some subtle changes in the top corner here with new branding. Same old me, we've just changed the name to Let's Talk Whiskey. It's still going to be the reviews, I'm still going to try and get people on the channel, but let's get stuck into this one. This is what we've got this week. It's Glenlaird 10-year-old. This is from Stravaig, or Tri Carragh, that you might know, that's out there in the world. They've came from strength to strength. They kind of came around last year and just started outlaying bottles late last year. So in February of 2023, I won a competition to help with tasting notes. So they sent me some blind samples, and then I was able to just try these and try and figure out what they were and just give my honest opinion on it, like I do in the channel. So I was giving all these opinions back, and they would tell me what the whiskies were after I'd tried them. So the following month, they would send the email to say that this is what you tried last month. So I was able to rank them from my favourite to something not my least favourite, but just trying to put them in order of where I felt they were fitting at the time. The Glenlaird was an export only at the time as well. This was for the Asian market. I think majority of it was going to Korea. They have a 10-year-old and they also have a 12-year-old. We have the 10-year-old here, and as you can see, there's some out of it because I've had a few drams, shall we say. I've shared quite a lot of it as well. This is 48% and it's non-chill filtered. It's batch 1. So what the Glenlaird brand is, what they were trying to do, or what they want to do, was produce what they believe to be the highland region, just kind of encapsulate that within a bottle. And they've been able to do this. This bottle at the time was, when I tried it blind, it had so many things going on. I've actually not had a drama this for a while, but I had so many things going on that it took me on a journey, and I really, really enjoyed it. I went to a tasting a few weeks ago, and I've started to see this coming into the UK market, which I think is great for them. It's getting so many great reviews at the tastings that they're doing. They're hosting whiskey clubs, and these are selling really well. I'm really glad to see it because this was, as I say, my favourite, and they were able to bottle this for the export market. So it's got a little bit of an attachment to it as well. I'm hoping this is still staying the same for me from when I tried it the very first time last year and a little sample to when I've been trying it over the year. I don't think I've maybe had a dram of this for this year, maybe. It might have been the tail end of last year. I can't recall, but I do think it is a bourbon cask with a little bit of sherry finish to it, or it may just be the full bourbon potential refill again. That's the only thing I couldn't really remember. And information-wise, we don't get much of it on there. Say export only at the time, but we're starting to see it in the market that we've got now here in the UK. I've had this in the glass for a wee minute. I've had a wee swirl and stuff as well. As you can see, I've got a slight new setup, and hopefully this works for going forward. Got it in a glass. We're going to nose it as usual. We're going to taste it and just see how this goes. I've got an idea of what this tastes like, but as I say, I've not had it for a while, so I'm hoping it's still got everything that I remember it to be and what I enjoyed about it at the time. So as always, a wee swirl in the glass, and we'll check the legs. The legs are there. It's non-chill filtered, so we're going to see that it's going to take a little bit longer for the beads to kind of come down, and I can see that already. I'm hoping that's... It's great. The colour of it, it's nice and kind of straw hay style. It's light, 48% as well. We've got, so we'll get this on the nose. You've got that kind of burst of green apple. You've got that citrus there. The softer toffee notes in the background, like a toffee apple that you've just bitten into, but it's that juicy green apple. There's a tiny bit of funk in there as well. There's just that little funkiness there. You've still got your barley fields, your kind of farmland in a nice way. Just Summer's Day farms. Just if you're walking by, the hay barrels are maybe stacked really close to you, or the hay barrels are just getting put together. There's just that nice kind of farm note to it. Those legs now, just after a swirl and the glass has been able to be coated, it's amazing. So fresh green apple. There's a little bit of kind of Himalayan salt. And as I say, a little bit of funk in there, which I really like in a whiskey. So we're getting fresh notes, we're getting the sweetness coming through. This is predominantly for me a more citrus led on the forefront, and it's dropping back to these to release these other flavours. So we'll get it on the palate. One more wee sniff, so slange everyone. It's not, the word juicy isn't what I'm looking for. Mouth coating, salivating. It's not as um, green apple in the forefront. There's a little bit of spice in the back note. There's a kind of orange note coming through, like a I wouldn't say charred orange, but just a nice maybe Savine orange, a softer, sweeter style. The softer kind of your toffees are just hanging around, not as much. That little bit of funk is just going. It's still really good. I'm going to see if this will work. If you drop water into a whiskey, if you watch it really close, you'll see it split. Because it's not chill filtered, that's the natural oils splitting away from the whiskey. And for me, to kind of oversell it as I imagine, or if you imagine the water going in, it's taking the alcohol away, and then all these layers that you're seeing it moving around is just releasing more flavour. That's probably the way I like to describe it. So on the nose now with some water. That kind of clean crisp apple is staying there. The kind of fudginess has stopped off. It is staying a more um, zesty forefront. Maybe kind of soft heather coming through, flower notes as well. Nice and clean, just as the Heather Highlands if you're driving up that way. But that little bit of funk is staying there. For me, I think at the time I said I think this is a Ben Nevis of some degree, and I think I'm still going to stick with that. But again, I don't know. It's got a really good nose. It's 10 years young. We'll get it on the palate one last time. See if the water's changed anything. It's not changed much in the nose, as I say. It's taken away the kind of sweeter notes. It's still kept that green apple, that zestiness at the forefront. Again, mouth coating. I'll use the word juicy. It's just there. It's enjoyable. Not super offensive. That tiny bit of water that it's dropped in has actually calmed it down a little bit. It's very slightly more spicy in the back note in the first kind of instance. Again, that could be my palate just climatising to it. It's the first dram that I've had. I've not had a palate cleanser, shall we call it, before I've done this. But it's one of those drams you don't have to keep reaching for. It's simply complex is probably one way to describe it. It's got a lot of simplicities to it, but there's a complexity in the back note, which again I enjoy in a whiskey. I remember trying this blind and enjoying it, and I'm still enjoying it to this day. It's one that I think I'll need to buy the 12-year-old next. That's I love the 10. I think I'll always get the 10, and I do recall that the 10 and the 12 are the same liquid. They've just one's just been aged for 2 years longer. The uh, same distillery, 48%. Again, it was the same as export, but you're finding it back in the UK now. You're picking this up for around, I think it's between 45 and £50. For me, it's one that I think I'll go for again, just because I really enjoy it. Yeah, the branding's quite light. It's everything if you're wanting, if it's export to, for instance, Asia, it's got everything you want on there. The Scottishness, it's got the kind of the antlers from stags, if that's what you want to call it. Glenlaird Scotch whisky says exactly does what it says in the tin or the bottle, shall we say? I've really enjoyed it. I think I'll continue to enjoy it again. I'll need to replenish this and pretty soon, as I've only got a short amount left. But a nice, light, a lot going on whiskey. And I'll still say I think it might be a Ben Nevis to some degree. But that's still there. I was about to finish it, but it's still there. Again, I don't need to keep going for this. I'm just going to finish this. I'm not going to pour another one because I've not got much left of it. So I'm going to go and finish this, as we always do, in the other room and see how I get on with it. But again, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the New Look channel. And as always, join me next week and let's talk whiskey. Slange.